The original LEGO Star Wars game was the pivot that introduced me to TT Games' LEGO video game series and Star Wars itself. Without it, I would have never started this YouTube channel, and the upcoming LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga game wouldn't have been a thing. After recently replaying LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, I decided it was time to take a retrospective look into this video game classic and see how it holds up today, 15 years later. LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga is the ultimate combination of its predecessors. LEGO Star Wars the video game with the prequel trilogy, and LEGO Star Wars 2 the original trilogy with the originals, both released in 2005 and 2006 respectively. The Complete Saga released a year later in 2007 and became to this day the best-selling Star Wars game of all time. In the game, you can play through the 6 Star Wars films that were out at the time. There are 6 levels per movie based on the main plot points of the films. There's also extra levels, bonus levels and other modes, but let's not get into that just yet. The Complete Saga is based on the events of the films, but you needn't have seen them to understand the game. Just by playing the game for the first time, anybody can grasp at least the basics of the story. Nearly every iconic or noteworthy event from the 6 Star Wars films is adapted in this game. The Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan vs Anakin, the Battle of Yavin, Luke's confrontation with Vader, and the Battle of Endor, just to name a few. The Complete Saga illustrates these iconic moments with Mumbling, now widely considered the classic form of voiceover for its characters. LEGO games released after Batman 2 implemented voice lines either taken straight from its respective material or a voice cast completely recorded anew. The classic LEGO Star Wars Mumbling makes for some famously light-hearted tongue-in-cheek humour, which the series is returning to with the Skywalker Saga, implementing a mumble mode and returning to the classic LEGO Star Wars feel. There is no dialogue in the Complete Saga, so the storytelling relies on mumbling to portray the key plot points of the series. Take the I am your father scene from Empire. Here, instead of passing the iconic line, Vader pulls out a photo of Padme showing Luke he is his father. There's no dialogue needed because the visual representation is enough, and this kind of humour is echoed throughout the entire game. When you start the game, you're thrown straight into the Mos Eisley Cantina. This is the hub of a game that holds the doorways to every level. When you jump into the game for the first time, you only have access to the tutorial level and the first level of episode 1, Negotiations, which opens the game with a nice and easy level. Immediately, you can use the force mechanic to move and destroy LEGO objects before encountering the game's first wave of battle droids. The combat in the Complete Saga is far from challenging. It's what you'd expect from a LEGO game, and more so here than any other in the series. Your basic melee or shoot attack is one button. You can add some variety by jumping with another button, and more unique characters like bounty hunters can throw thermal detonators with yet another button. It's incredibly simple, but you can still be caught out and killed amongst some of the bigger waves of enemies. However, the only consequence of this is losing a few studs, which if you're quick enough can be retained. Other than that, if you die, it's no big deal. In the first level, you'll also be introduced to Collectibles. The stud is TT Games' famous currency, which rewards the player for smashing apart random LEGO objects and reaching new areas. After collecting a certain amount of studs within a level, you'll be rewarded with True Jedi, which culminates in a gold brick. Gold bricks are the main collectible of LEGO Star Wars, as after collecting a total of 160, you will have completed the game. Gold bricks are rewarded by completing levels, bonus levels, and collecting every item, of which there are also mini-kits. Locked behind hidden doorways and puzzles or completely out in the open, there are 10 mini-kits within every level. These small LEGO objects are usually unobtainable in the normal story progression of a game. Instead, this is where free play comes in. After you've played a level in story mode, you can return to said level with 10 interchangeable characters and find every one of these mini-kits. The puzzles required to get to these collectibles are usually defined by a certain character's ability to progress to said collectible. There are 160 characters in this game, from Qui-Gon Jinn to Darth Vader to even Indiana Jones. Most of your light side heroes are automatically unlocked after you've played them in their story level, and those you don't play as are unlocked and ready to purchase with studs at the same time. Every character on the roster can be grouped by their abilities, not in the same way as the Skywalker Saga does, but they can be. Jedi can use the Force to move objects and double jump to reach high places, gun heroes can shoot targets and use grapple points, small characters can fit through small doors, droids can open door panels, Sith Lords can use the dark side of the Force to move red highlighted objects, and bounty hunters have bombs that can destroy shiny silver LEGO objects. There's also a few smaller grouped anomalies like Jar Jar and General Grievous, who can jump much higher than a Jedi, and R2 and Boba Fett, who can hover over small open spaces. These character abilities are the foundation of the game's collectible system, which feeds these different abilities into its puzzles that rewards the player with studs, a mini-kit, or even a red brick. There is only one red brick per level. This rare and yet very basic LEGO piece will unlock one of 36 extras in the game, from stud multipliers to boost your stud intake, detectors that help you find collectibles in free play, or self-destruct that gives any droid the ability to blow themselves up, and Super Gonk, which gives all Gonk droids super speed and super jump. So free play mode is a very fun aspect of the Complete Saga. Return into the prequels as Vader, or my go-to Force boss goes to find every one of these hidden collectibles felt very rewarding, and especially after I saved up enough to buy out the entire character roster, because wow. LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga does a fantastic job of adapting its locations, characters, and even down to its audio design, which is incredibly authentic to Star Wars. Everything from a lightsaber swing to the music played in the cantina was taken straight from the films. It makes the whole LEGO Star Wars experience feel so much more complete. No pun intended. But because The Complete Saga is derived from two separate games, there's a distinctively different vibe you get from playing the first 3 and last 3 episodes. The prequel levels are for the most part much simpler than the originals, which are more expansive, but replaying these again recently was far more boring than I remember. Levels like Speeder Showdown, Falcon Flight, or Mos Eisley Spaceport do not nearly hold up to the fun I had when playing the prequel levels. They're longer, with more puzzles and respawning enemies, whereas the prequels are shorter, simpler, and for me, just more fun. There are of course exceptions to this. Vader and Luke vs Palpatine and Secret Plans are some of my favourite levels, whereas Bounty Hunter Pursuit and Gunship Cavalry are notoriously bad. However, when it comes down to the majority, I love the levels in the prequel movies and only like half the levels from the originals. There are two types of levels in this game. Your usual on the ground levels like Discovery on Camino, and ship levels, which changes the camera angle and usually involves the use of torpedoes or bombs to blow things up. These can be very hit and miss. Not the torpedoes, the levels. I've already mentioned a fair few of the ship battles I don't enjoy, but there are some I do. I found the battle over Coruscant and blowing up both Death Stars really fun. The battle over Coruscant because when the camera follows Anakin and Obi-Wan in the same way it does in the film, it feels very true to Revenge of the Sith. And blowing up both Death Stars because they're such iconic events. Inside some of these levels you'll come across a boss fight based on a big duel or battle from the movies, which adds some variety to the gameplay. It's also where the most iconic events of the saga take place. For the most part, boss battles usually play the same way. When introduced, you knock off a heart, the boss calls in the infantry or throws Lego bricks at you, you knock off another heart and repeat until the boss's lives have transpired. However, the level Darth Vader is a brilliant exception to this, the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan from episode 3, and one of the best levels in this game. The Complete Saga has 2-player couch co-op functionality built into every level of a game, with at least 2 characters playable in every level, so player 2 can always be an option. This is commonly a pair of characters from whatever moment the level is based on, or if a level is based on the events of one character, introduces astromech droids to fill in the gap. Whereas the rest of the game adds these extra characters to allow for co-op play, Darth Vader doesn't. Instead, TT Games creatively decided to allow both Anakin and Obi-Wan to be playable, working together to survive amongst the destruction of a Mustafar base until the end, where if a second player is connected, you duel to the death. Playing the Complete Saga with friends and family in co-op is the best way to play LEGO Star Wars, pulling each other from one stretch of a stupid camera to the other, sabotaging each other's progress, or just laughing at ridiculous things is what made memories with this game. It's why most fans now are so nostalgic for the classic LEGO Star Wars experience, because no matter how bad or boring a level is, together with a friend or younger brother to bully, you can always make it fun. Let's talk about completing the game. If your goal is to reach 100% completion, you best set yourself up to replay all 36 levels at least 4 times over. The first time in story mode, the second in free play, the third in challenge mode, and the fourth in super story. We've already gone over the first 2, so let's move on to the latter. In challenge mode, you're tasked with finding 10 blue minikits in 20 minutes, and without the help of YouTube guides, shout out Quick Brick Games, I'm afraid this might take some time. Super story is the most grueling level type of the Complete Saga. The aim of this mode is to replay all 6 levels of an episode as they are in story mode combined into one long level and collect 100,000 studs in under an hour. I don't even understand why this is a thing. So you might imagine by the time you've played through 36 levels 4 times over, this isn't something you want to do again just yet. Well, on top of that, but more positively, there's bounty hunter missions and bonus levels. Bounty hunter missions take the player back into a level as your unlocked bounty hunters to, in under 3 minutes, find a character standing in some random room. There's also minikit and character bonus modes where in a nearly bird's eye view set in new maps based on levels from the main progression of a game, you must collect 1 million studs in 5 minutes. These game modes are quite refreshing. They're not too similar to story like super story and free play like challenge mode, and do feel like new challenges. The Complete Saga also has bonus levels separate from the bonus modes I just went over. Those were in their respective episode rooms, whereas these bonus levels have their own dedicated room of a cantina hub, and require a certain amount of gold bricks from each episode to unlock that episode's bonus level. These are either classic versions of existing levels from LEGO Star Wars the video game, like the more challenging and timed pod race level, or completely fresh iterations of previous level ideas like Anakin's flight, which was originally a different type of level scrapped from the first game. To add to this, there's LEGO Sandbox levels and my favourite bonus level, A New Hope, where as Darth Vader and an Imperial Stormtrooper you dock the Tantive 4 to kill some rebel scum. This was the bonus level from the video game that marked 100% completion and is a level I have a huge amount of nostalgia for. So there is a lot to do in this game, and if you want to completely complete the complete saga, then that's a mission that will take many hours. But in the end you will be rewarded with a golden fountain of respawning studs. Why this is the final reward when there's nothing left to buy, I don't know. If I were to step out the realm of 2007 and retrospectively look back at the complete saga, having played a variety of LEGO games since then, yes, I think it's outdated in terms of gameplay and graphics. But even though LEGO games since 2012 have had voice acting, I don't think the mumbling is what makes it outdated. It's a design choice that still holds up really well today. If you want to jump into the complete saga for the first time 15 years later, expecting the level of depth from later installments, of course you'll be disappointed. But if you're back for the nostalgia ride, or even to play this game for the first time in anticipation of the Skywalker saga, I would definitely recommend it. If you're a fan of LEGO Star Wars and LEGO games and you haven't played this game already, what are you doing? Let me know what you think of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga in the comments. What do you like about the game and what don't you like? Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.